Yo,
Gosh.
right, we are not live, but we are recording. So let me pull this up. Let me see. Let me share this with you. Da, 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 da. Window. Let's take a look at this, friend. What are we saying?
It's
Spain,
just the
England.
whole game was disappointing, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
Uh, yes and no. I mean, I was always expecting them to play the way they played.
Mm.
We were hoping, I guess, that they'd have enough to get over the line and edge it again. But this Spanish team are really good, aren't they? To be fair.
Yeah, and I mean, just look at that possession. I've not seen a team do that to England in so long. Like, I've not seen a team dominate us on and off the ball, really, in a long time. Like since we last kind of had a major final, probably. I can't remember
Yeah.
what the stats were like in the Italy game, but I can't imagine they're quite like that.
No, I mean they had lots of chances, and I would argue that their chances that they had were better than any of England's chances. To be fair,
Oh, 100%.
um, yeah, 66% possession, 89% pass accuracy. That is ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we just went at it, were we? Like, we knew what they were going to do as well. Like, it was so well documented what Spain were about in terms of their high press, multiple press, like pressing like a pack of dogs on each player. But like, just they just didn't set up for it. They thought they did. They changed the formation. They changed the setup. It was like a 4-4-2 out of possession, a 4-2-3-1 in possession. It just didn't work.
No.
And it took until what was it, the 63rd minute or something like that for him to change it.
Well, this
Um,
is the problem with Southgate, and this is what he gets criticised for. Tactically, he's not very good, is he? He's he's obviously very good at the culture piece and getting everybody, to stick together and to fight for each other. He's really good with people speaking, all that kind of stuff. But tactically, he gets found wanting, doesn't he? Like if you've got 34% possession, you're not getting the ball. Then your hope is to counter attacking it. And how are you going to counter attack with Kane up top?
yeah, he was just even more immobile than I expected him to be. Really, I
He was a
think he only come
non-starter.
off in the end. He only come off, didn't he? Because Jude was like obviously having a go at Southgate in like the kind of 55th, 60th minute, and then he was like, "Oh, I should probably do something really," because otherwise we're going to lose this game, and he did, and he obviously took Kane off, but ultimately that chance right at the very end that fell to Watkins and then Stones and whoever else had it over the bar in the end, I think it was Rice. Kane scores that, which is kind of the bittersweet karma of substitutions, isn't it?
Yeah, but based on this tournament, would he be in the position to score that? Yeah, that's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, he would have been in and around the box from the corner, wouldn't he? Because like it's hard to stand outside the box from a corner, which he's been doing for the
Yeah,
rest of the play. But
his
I think
movement
he
in
would
the
have been
box,
there.
his movement in the box has been poor as well. So he's just
Yeah,
very.
probably. If it landed on his head like the kind of 50 pence piece on any of those like attempts, he puts it in the net. Obviously, Guy he just put it straight at the keeper. You've got you've got so much area to aim for, and he put it straight at the keeper. And then obviously Stones had it off the line or whatever it was, and then Rice just over the bar. And you just think you're looking at it, you're like Christ, like we needed someone who's like a competent finisher in that sort of scenario. And Kane would have been your man. And obviously Watkins had a chance and took on the turn and let himself down a little bit as well. And you think like Kane probably wouldn't have been there, but had he been there, that would have been his chance. But you can kind of look at any chance like that, can't you? Like, I don't see anyone else finishing the ball the way Cole Palmer did. So that change had to be made as well. But on the flip side, I'm not sure I completely agree with all the substitutions he made, and I'm not sure. Like when we were 1-0, he was looking at bringing Trippier on. I don't know what the science was behind that, but obviously that soon got changed when Orazabal stuck it in for 2-1.
Yeah, I honestly don't understand the logic. Like you're going into this game at the start of the game, right? You know you're not going to get any possession, don't you? Well, I say
Mm.
any, but you're going to get less. They're dominant side. They've dominated everybody so far with the ball. Like if you know you're going to be counter attacking, why aren't you playing Watkins? Why aren't you playing somebody who can make them passes that Cole Palmer can make? You know what I mean? Or why aren't you putting some? Or, like there's other options as well, and there's pace. Put Gordon on the left to hit him with more pace or whatever. But keeping it the same just wasn't the choice. I don't think he would have got criticised for being brave and losing.
No, I think that's the problem, isn't it? He went too brave too late, and when we scored, I genuinely thought, like, kind of to myself, I was like, we're actually going to go on and win this, because we took the ball, we took the ascendancy of the game, we were pushing them, and then there was a point, I think it's probably about the 70th minute, what time were we scoring? 73. So I think it was about the 77th minute, we had a throw in their end, right down the corner, Kyle Walker had it. And you think, oh God, we've got we've got 11 men over here, like everyone but Pickford's there, ready to go. And he chucks it backwards, and it goes to, I think it was Bellingham, and then Bellingham, and then goes back to Stones, and then Stones goes to Pickford. Pickford then lumps it long for Ollie Watkins. It bounces past and goes up for a goal kick, and I think that's the last time we actually attacked the box. Like, effectively attacked the box. It wasn't just a 90th minute, everyone fucking get in the box sort of thing. So, yeah, that was the exact moment I think it died for England.
Yeah, I think it was just poor. Like I say, he did for some reason try and protect the draw. I think he would have been happy with penalties, to be fair, but you can't against a team like this.
Yeah, I think it's weird that England are now a team that play for penalties after all the history of being shit.
Yeah, they've worked on them so much now, they want them all the time.
Yeah, I always back us now, which is nice.
Yeah, but it's strange, isn't it? It's like, obviously he stepped down now, so who's going to be next?
Yeah, I think that's the $1 million question in English football for now, isn't it? Is who's going to be next? I imagine Lee Carter will take it for the Nations League games. Obviously, they're in September, so they're less than a month away now, or a month, just about there or thereabouts. And he's a good manager, and he plays a style of football that is like relentless, kind of very Jurgen Klopp in the way that he kind of, it's just attack, get forward, kind of. You don't kind of play through the kind of the gaps and the transitions and kind of that sort of stuff. And you don't work through the 30, you just get the ball up, and it's quite chaotic, which is great at under 21's level, and under 19s and 18s where he's been before and he's been really successful. I just don't know if it translates to men's football in the same sense as you've got players who won't let you do that in the same way you do it under 21s, because the physicality is not quite there.
Maybe, but we'll see. So it's like the Spanish manager, he's come through all the system, and he like that, and ultimately he plays a fast-paced game a lot of the time. They play possession, but they're also capable of playing that fast-paced game, aren't they, Spain?
Yeah, I think that's what they want, isn't it? But whether they'll do it is remains to be seen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like these are the players we thought were gonna swipe any team aside. Like going into the tournament, I thought there is no way we don't win this. Like we're just gonna bat every team we come across. Look at the players we've got. You've got 3 players that have player of the year in their respective countries in our attack, and we end up being one of the weakest teams when it comes to attack in the end.
But they did it, didn't they, with Gerrard, Lampard, and Scholes, trying to fit everybody in rather than actually going, well, no, we're going to have to leave somebody out because it doesn't fit the way we want to play, and it upsets the whole system.
No, I totally agree. I'm not really sure why he changed away from the system that worked, because we saw the 3-4-3 or 3-2, or 3-4-2-1, whatever people were trying to call it, and it was working. Like, yes, we weren't playing Spain. Yes, we were playing kind of more second-rate nations, but it was working. I just can't understand why it went back to a kind of regressive formation of a 4-back where he knew we were going to get found out.
Well, I just think it's just not. It's a courage thing, isn't it? It's a courage thing. They're so worried about what the other team are going to do. They adjust their game for the other team like too much. Whereas what they should be doing is going, right, this is how to get the best out of our team. Let's go and win this game. This is what we're going to do, and we're going to take over this game. You know what I mean? It's that almost, well, I keep coming back to it. It's Pep Guardiola's like attitude. We're going to go and win this game, not we're going to go and sit there and try and survive, or we're worried about what they'll do. Like even against like Real Madrid and like the best teams out there, he goes for it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think that's the issue, isn't it?
Yeah, and I know he's got amazing players and he's got a lot more time to work with them, but ultimately it's that courage to just go, right, we've got class players here. We're going to set up in a way that's going to get us goals and get us to win this game, and we're going to attack this game from the start. Make the other team worry about you and panic about you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's what Spain did, wasn't it? It was kind of they just played their game, and I think England set up. I mean, the first half I couldn't have been more impressed with Luke Shaw and Kyle Walker. And obviously, I had my reservations about Luke Shaw going into it being whether he's fit enough. Can he cope with Yamal? Like, yes, he's a class left back, Luke Shaw, and he's been there and done it. Played in the final, played won major trophies with United, played for England he's probably on like 30, 40 caps now. But obviously he was really good, and Kyle Walker kept kind of dealt with Williams in the first half really well. and you thought, bloody hell, like maybe this formation's working. The fullbacks have done their job. The wingers are coming back to help out to make 2-on-1s. But I think they spent so long prepping for that Yamal coming into Olmo situation that they forgot about Williams, and then he was, in the end, the dagger in the heart.
I don't know. I think they just changed, didn't they? I think Spain adapted and England didn't.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? It's like you got to adapt to it. And obviously, the second half they came out, and rather than going down the right hand side, team out at the time because it wasn't working. Because Shaw was, Shaw coming out the first half. I think it was like 6 or 7 tackles, one against him, and then Williams become the threat coming inside, and they just weren't watching that second runner behind, which is, I guess, probably why they come away from 3-5 to 3-4-3. But ultimately, I think they brought themselves into a hole, and that's the last thing you want to do against the players like Williams, like Yamal, like Olmo, who are quick enough with their feet on and off the ball to punish you. And that, obviously, you can analyse it till the cows come home, can't you? Because England weren't good enough in a number of kind of places, really. But ultimately, like you say, we tried to defend against Spain rather than trying to play our own game, which is
and
crazy.
England were happy with the 0-0 at half time, and they came out and they wanted more of the same. That's the difference. Where Spain came out and was like, how do we unlock this defence? How do we score? How do we win this game?
Yeah,
it's just that attitude difference. And I think that attitude difference is what's upset most of the England fans. And that's why Southgate's had a lot of stick, because he doesn't seem to be going out trying to, I guess, like be aggressive and try and win games. He's just trying to survive.
Yeah. It's disappointing, isn't it? Like, I think the chance to win that game was still less than Italy 3 years ago. I think that was still a better chance to win it because Italy weren't a European Championship winning team, in my opinion. Like, they weren't that good, especially on paper or in terms of their play. They weren't that strong. They didn't really impress anyone. They didn't blow anyone away from that tournament. They just got fortunate that England fluffed their lines again. So, I think obviously 2021 at home, we should have won it. This year, it's unfortunate. We didn't deserve to get to the final anyway, did we? Let's be honest. But I don't know. It's one of them, and like Spain was so good. Like it says on there, 15 goals is the most at any Euros ever, and to win every game is just the second time it's ever been done.
Yeah,
and you think, bloody hell, don't you? Like, that's just not ideal.
Though. They are that good, aren't they?
Yeah, and like I think people underestimated Spain coming into the tournament, didn't they? Because obviously they are the current holders of the Nations League, aren't they?
Yeah, they won that, and so. But people just didn't fancy him coming in for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's surprising, really. But I mean, Cucurella, even like look at him this season, dreadful. Like, we were talking about him on the last episode, and we were kind of saying that he's not a first-rate left back, and he actually couldn't have looked any better in this Euros if he tried. Even in the final, he was not amazing, but he was pretty good.
I think the difference is that when you get that much of the ball, he is good on the ball. Defensively, he gets found out a lot, but on the ball, he's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that cross was wild, wasn't it, for the goal? Like, he couldn't have timed it any better, really.
No, so if you dominate possession as well, then it's going to suit him, innit?
Yeah, and I mean, like, when that second goal went in, I was convinced it was offside. I was convinced at first it was offside. I thought it was.
When I looked at it, he's offside there.
And, like, I've seen the automatic offside thing. I've seen that he's off. Like, I saw that he's onside. But, like, haven't seen every camera angle since, and people are taking photos at the game, on the TV, and I'm just like, how can that not be? But obviously it's got to be, because you've got to trust the system's working, haven't you? But, yeah, when it got given, I couldn't believe my eyes.
No, I know. What can you do?
It's devastating, it really is.
I thought that was off. My first reaction was, that's off. I mean, it was a really lovely, well-worked goal, wasn't it? But
yeah, I mean, it's just, obviously... Yeah, it's the space that got found, didn't they? Like, all their good chances. Obviously, they missed 2 or 3, and Pickford made some unbelievable saves in that second half.
Yeah,
which I think a lot of people forget. Because that game could have been 4 or 5-1 had it not been for Pickford, to be honest.
They were dominating.
And I think, to go back to what I said about the left back and the right back, they were just so good in the first half, and the second half, I don't know what Kyle Walker was up to for them goals, but you just got to think, like, this guy's a treble winner. And then he won a domestic treble, and he's up there with one of the best right backs in world football, possibly ever. And he's left his post twice, left his man twice. Who is a man who's just won a trophy over in La Liga? Like, he's a proper, he's a hard winger. He's not just some winger that's got into a team because he's the only left winger. He's a winner, and he's left him twice. He's punished us twice. And you think after the first one, surely get alive to it, but no. And then Norman's backing him up either, so he's left him, but then Stones is also nowhere to be seen. Yes, I think it's frustrating because the goals were good, but I think we made them look better in terms of like the actual goals themselves. I think we made them a better chance for them to score than we should have done.
Maybe. I'm not. Yeah, maybe. But I still think, I mean, it was Spain's well worked, well played that's created that more than anything else. Yeah, they've sent the defence, but the defence have been run ragged as well, hasn't it? For like 50 minutes.
I mean,
For the first goal, and then
they were tired, weren't
they? So, it's and like especially Walker, he's getting on now really. And then, against Williams, who's young, and Cucurella's hammering it up and down that side as well. He's probably had a real tough shift there, to be fair.
Yeah, I think he's come out of the dressing room, and he's a little bit. I think he's still a little bit. He still sat down when that goal was coming in. Like when that chance of attacking was it the 47th minute or something like that. Yeah. I think they're still just coming out of the dressing room, aren't they? I mean, all of them. They're still just coming out. They're still getting back into the game. And Spain come out like firing, and they were out well before us as well. Before the game and at half time, they were out in the tunnel and out on the pitch well before us.
Yeah, they wanted it, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they came in fresh, didn't they? We just weren't at all.
Yeah, and literally a couple of minutes before that, everybody was like wowed because Rodri's off, thinking here's a chance, and instantly go behind.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean. I think I was actually saying it at the time. I was like, if there's a player to pick to take off that pitch like before the game, I mean, for me it would have been Williams because I know how dangerous he is. But the next player you think is Rodri because like that man's a winner. He's only lost 2 competitive games in the last 2 years or something like that, or 3 or 3 games, which is mental.
It draws the tempo of the game as well.
Yeah, and like I think the team will probably be like, shit, like this is it, this is us. We've done the first half. We've done what we wanted to do. We've done what we set out to do, which is 0-0. And if we can nick a goal, great. If we don't, we don't. And then Rodri come off, and they were like, they almost couldn't have handpicked a better scenario, and they were too busy getting caught up in that. And I think everyone in the stadium was, and everyone on Twitter and Facebook, and like in the room I was in, like everyone was going, "Oh my god, Rodri's off. This is it. And everyone was like, almost like, "Oh, we're favourites. We've done what we need to do. Rodri's gone. We're taking Spain's teeth away of their attack, and that's it." And then literally, like, whilst we're saying, "Oh, this is our year. This is it," Williams is stuck at the back of the net, and you're just like, "Oh,
yeah,
never mind." Then.
And I think the longer it went on, the more it would have suited England.
Yeah.
If it was 0-0, into the late stages of the game, it probably would have suited England because there's always a chance you can nick a goal. But I just think Susie, that was a bit of a sucker punch. That.
Yeah, it was hard. Like it sucked. Like I think I was more disappointed after the Italy game, like I said, than I was the Spain game. But it hurt equally as bad. But I think I was still more disappointed at Italy just because that felt like more of the chance. But yeah, like I say, it was like I think we had every chance taking that extra time. But I think the result would have been the same regardless. I think we were fresh out of legs, and the substitutions that Southgate was going to bring on at 1-1 wouldn't have won us the game.
Yeah,
you feel bad for like the likes of Palmer, Gordon, Watkins. I felt like they just didn't get a chance. Like Foden played 7 games in this tournament, and I don't think he got a single goal or assist. And then Gordon must be sat on the bench thinking, "What fucking hell have I got to do to get a game?"
Yeah, but that's part of the problem, and this comes back to what I'm saying about picking rather than just picking the best players, pick people who fit the system. So if you're going to play a left winger, don't play Foden. He doesn't play there.
Yeah,
and he wants to come inside, but then he's coming in onto his weaker foot, and then you're instantly at a disadvantage. Just put Gordon out there. He'll get up and down the byline and he'll put balls in the box.
Yeah, 100%.
And he'll pin people back.
100%.
Like fit the game that you want. Fit the system and the game that you want to play. Like this game was obviously going to be counter-attacking. Start Watkins, man. Even if you bring a striker on later on, start Watkins and get him for 60 minutes to run in behind to really stretch their defence and keep them pinned back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think he's brave enough, was he? Like, I don't think he was ever going to drop Kane in any stretch of the word. Like, I mean, he started him in the Euros final, the last previous Euros, and he wasn't fit. And he started him, and people thought, he's actually doubtful to play this game, and he still started him.
Yeah.
So, not in the Euros, sorry, in the France game, in the World Cup. And you just think, like, that's the sort of thing Lee Carsley will do if he gets in this manager's role, especially on an interim basis. He's got nothing to lose, and he will just do that. Like, I can see Lee Carsley probably starting Watkins in the first or second game for England that he manages because that's his football. It's quick, it's fast. There's no passengers. Like, I don't care if you're Harry Kane or if you're like Lee Cattermole. If you're not playing, you're not starting.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see what happens, won't we? But yeah, I think it's another chance missed, isn't it? The next European Championships is in the UK, so we'll fancy ourselves that one again, no doubt. But the team will be 4 years older than it is now, and you think, like, have we missed our chance like Belgium? Possibly.
I think they just need to. It needs to be like you just need to be not picking the best players and trying to make them fit in a system that they don't fit. You just got to pick your system, and you've got to make big decisions and leave players out. It's that simple.
100%.
You've got to think about what's best for the team, for the outcome of the result, rather than, oh, he's player of the year, he's got to play, or he's our all-time top goal scorer, he's got to play. It don't work like that.
Nah.
It don't work like that. You're trying to win football matches, ain't you? So you got to think, what's the best system for this football match, and within this system, who's the best players to fit in them positions?
100%. I think the biggest letdown for me the on the final on the day, I think, was probably Declan Rice. I think he's managed to avoid any major criticism throughout the tournament by just being.
Oh, I've criticised him. He's awful.
Yeah, he's been average the whole tournament, but I think he's got away with it because Southgate's tactics have been not great. Kane's been a bit of a scapegoat. People have been saying this about, people going, oh, Foden this, Foden that, he can't play there, he can't play here. Trippier, Shaw, there's so many other talking points that I think Declan Rice almost went under the radar because obviously everyone that played alongside him, like Trent, awful in the first game. And then they had Gallagher, dreadful. And obviously then Kobbie Mainoo came in and he was like almost like a breath of fresh air, and he didn't really get a look in the final either. Obviously come off after kind of an hour or so, which I think is harsh personally as well, because he'd been kind of a bit of a bright light for England to that point in the tournament. But I think Rice just, every time he got the ball in the semi, probably in the quarter as well, definitely in the final, he just seemed to give it away or just be left napping or something. And it's like...
And he's low energy, slow. Like, when you compare him to Mainoo, I would have had him in the team over him every day of the week.
Yeah.
Like, he was high energy, he was everywhere, he was getting on the ball. You know what I mean? He was trying to make things happen and get England up the pitch, but Rice was just happy. He sat there doing very little, to be honest.
Yeah, he's been regressive, hasn't he? Like, he's not been that same kind of 6 role that he was at West Ham for Arsenal. He's been more of like an 8 or a 10, kind of carrying it at points, more of an 8 really, because like carrying it forward, passing it around, zipping it about, and but he still wasn't like the same. Like, I watched the I think it was the World Cup and the Euros back, some of the games, like they were doing Southgate's best games. And when Rice has played in those ones, he's like up and down the pitch, he's making tackles, he's throwing himself in, he's not giving the ball away, he's like progressing the ball, he's not turning around and from against the ball looking for Stones, looking for Shaw, looking for Maguire, for Watkins or not Watkins, sorry, Walker. And like, you think, what happened to him? Like, is it Southgate's tactics? Is it Rice not being up to the big occasion? Like, has he regressed under Arteta to become a more boring footballer? Has he forgotten to play a 6? Like, what's going on with him? Really, it's confusing, isn't it?
I don't know. You can't play 8. If you're going to play anybody 8, you got to play Bellingham because he's not a 10.
Yeah,
he's class, but he's not a 10. He's an 8. He only plays 10 at Real Madrid because of the players that are behind him.
Yeah, and their only option in that attack is probably Joselu at this point, isn't it?
Yeah. So you know what I mean? They got Modric and Cruz and Valverde in behind him. So like they push him up there, but he's like, because I watched him play 10 against City, and he was bang average. And he's been bang average 10 all this tournament. He's a quality player, but I think he needs to play 8, and he'll be more involved in the play. He'll use his athleticism and physicality more in that position as well.
Yeah,
and he can still join the attack and get involved in the attack, and he can also but then you got that possibility then of having Foden up in front of him, and I don't know why you don't have like an offset midfield. You can have a holding midfielder, an 8, and then somebody further up in that 10 position like Foden. That would be perfect, really.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. Obviously, everyone gives their best England teams and whatnot, and I don't know what it looks like under the next manager because it depends on who they go for, doesn't it?
Depends on what system they want to play, how they want to play, and everything else as well.
Yeah, I think obviously I like the idea of Lee Carsley. I do, because I like what he's about in terms of his football. I just don't know if the FA want too much control over going someone from within. Like, the dream scenario would probably be to get like a Jurgen Klopp, obviously, like, and I don't think the FA will ever employ a German manager for the English national team. I just can't see him doing it. Can't see him paying the money that they'd want, and I can't see them bowing down to him wanting to play his sort of football. I don't think that relationship would work.
I think you need that. You need a Jurgen Klopp type personality because what you don't need is somebody come in and fracture the group again. So what you need somebody to do is to build on what Gareth Southgate has done, because let's not forget he has done a cracking job, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
He's just not the man to get you over the line, I don't think. But he's done an amazing job to this point, and you just need somebody to build on it rather than break it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he's turned England ultimately into a team that, I use the word loosely, but they have succeeded, they have achieved. Like, this isn't the same England team of years gone by where it's like, oh, we might make a round 16, we might make a quarter final if we're really lucky. Like, we might just squeak it. Like we've not been pretty in this tournament. We've got to a major final again, and like we said before, he never looked like any doubt, did he? He's so calm.
I think people forget how hard it is to win major silverware as well. You know what I mean? Like, even in in domestic football, it's really difficult to win silverware, especially when you're talking about knockout football. Like, you look at the Champions League, how difficult it is for people to win the Champions League back to back. You know what I mean? It ain't easy.
Yeah, and I can't think of many teams other than obviously like City recently, Madrid. That's probably about it, to be honest. City, Madrid, maybe Liverpool have done back-to-back Champions League finals.
Yeah, and what you got to remember as well with that is that's just 1 year cycles. This is every 2 to 4 years if you can include the World Cup. The following year after this one, it's difficult to build on it because there's a big gap in between. There's nothing until the following year.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've got a good chance to go into this World Cup, kind of the next one in 2026, in some good spirits. Obviously, we've got the Nations League starting soon. Obviously, qualifiers and whatnot after that. But the Nations League, obviously, we've been relegated into the second division down, aren't we? We're in the B group, so I think we've got like Scotland or one of the other home nations, and we've got a couple of other mid-level teams. You think, I think there's Greece in there and some other kind of 30 to 40 ranked teams. You think that's a chance to build. Whichever gaffer comes in now has, I think it's Ireland first, then Greece, then someone else. You think that's a chance to get the ball rolling again. Now build on, like you said, to build on what Southgate left.
Yeah, that's what they need to do. Right, I'm going to park the bus on the football there.
Go for it.
I think we'll park the bus. I think there's been enough pain. Let's just put it behind us now. Move on.
Yeah.
And I will switch over to this here, out of the blue.
Man like Donald
Trump. What do you think about that shooting? It's a bit mad, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much conspiracy online, isn't there? Like, everyone wants to have their own opinion on it. Everyone wants to say, oh, this happened, that happened. We call the police about this, we call the police about that. Everyone knew about the shooter. It's wild, isn't it? I don't foresee in any way, shape, or form how it could possibly be a conspiracy, how it could be rigged, set up, because it's just surely not possible.
No, it's not. No, I mean, he's been hitting the ear. That's pretty darn close to getting your head blown off. If this was a setup, I don't think they'd go that far. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. I don't think you could
pull up back his head that could actually kill him and then kill the crowd, etc. You know what I mean? People this image, right? Love him or hate him, that's an iconic image now.
Oh, 100%. That'll be in textbooks in schools for years, won't it?
Yeah, that there, I think, is winning the election. I think he'll win the election on it. On the back of it. Not just this alone, but the popularity that'll come from this, and his defiance after being shot at. That's represents everything kind of America likes to stand for and wants to stand for. He's done a solid there with that PR stunt, standing up and just giving it afterwards.
Yeah, I don't think how it even comes out. The last thing I'd be doing after getting shot would be standing up, celebrating it. I'd be standing on the floor don't shoot me again, please. I'd be like, no, I'm okay, thanks.
This dude's in his 70s, man. He don't care. He don't give a shit.
Yeah, if you shot my granddad in the air, I guarantee, actually probably would, to be fair, but most 70-year-olds aren't getting back up from that, are they? Let's be honest.
Nah. But at my age now, I struggle to get up off the floor as it is. Literally.
Just
struggle.
Yeah, but, I think people that are saying it's fake, like to have to move. I don't think they understand. Like, obviously, you'll know from like kind of your kind of military kind of background, but like to turn your head whilst being shot at the precise second of a bullet traveling, considering that the speed of sound is much slower than the
No,
bullet.
no.
It's
As
just
soon as that
impossible.
bullet leaves the gun, you're dead. If
Yeah,
he hits you, the guy's just missed. That's all. And then once he's missed the first one, he's taken fire from the snipers who've identified where he is and fired straight back at him. Like, as soon as he fired that first shot, the sniper returned fire.
mad,
So
really, isn't it?
I
Like,
think that's the thing. And because of the pitch, like they say it was conspiracy now, people knew where he was. Yeah, people were saying there's a man with a gun, but who did they communicate that to? Had he been passed with the radio? And then at which point they still got to identify and find out where he is. The guy's got up on the roof with a gun and taken a shot almost like instantly, set himself up and got it instantly. And because of the pitch of the roof is like that, most of his body is covered. So the only thing that's going to peer over is his head and the scope. He's going to get
yeah,
because he's edge up over the roof. So and then by the time he's there, finding it, if he takes a shot straight away, which he's done, the snipers are not going to find him in time. And then as soon as he's fired, they're on him, turned, pivot, and they put rounds into him. So
yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Like, I imagine more will come out about it, over the next kind of weeks and months and stuff, and like when there'll probably be like a Netflix documentary on it in kind of next summer, no doubt, because that's how they'd like to roll things over there. But
this is this moment has made his presidential campaign now.
yeah, I think this is something that will make him immortalised in American politics for probably some time. I think we'll struggle to see someone that overturns Trump now for some time after that.
Well, he can only do 2 terms, can't you? So if he gets in now, that'll be him done.
He'll find a way to make that change, though. He's that sort of bloke, isn't he?
That'll be him done. So he'll be in and done. But he'll beat Biden to the post now.
Yeah, I think Biden's bloody lost it at this point anyway. He's calling President Zelensky President Putin the other day. I can't remember what, forgot his own name, and just the mistakes he's been making. You think that's not someone who I'd be voting for as a leader. You want your leader to be fearless, to be unkillable, to be defiant. You don't want your leader to forget in his grocery list. You know what I mean? Like,
kind of just that there is he's gonna build his entire campaign off that.
Yeah, and I mean, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Like he's just survived being killed.
Hey, not being funny. That picture, like it's even got the flag in the background. It's like almost perfect there. If that was me, that'd be framed. I'd be up on my wall somewhere.
Yeah, 100%. Like he's yeah, it's mental, isn't it? Like I don't think people understand the gravitas of it until like years to come when we look back at it in like 10, 15 years and think, bloody hell, like he's actually survived a assassination attempt. Like this guy is what he is.
Yeah. Wild,
but that'll be on t-shirts and jumpers and flags and all sorts in years to come.
100%. He'll have that. He'll push that out everywhere. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that just because it's like, it's culturally, that's going to be a big moment. That.
Yeah, I think it's impossible not to talk about it, isn't it? Like I think everyone's been talking about that pretty much on and off all week. Like, I mean, it just shows the difference in the like here to there and our politics to theirs, because you can't even think about something like that here, could you? Really, like, I don't think we've had something like that in my lifetime that I can think of.
No, you can imagine it, but like, yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, gun laws, crazy.
Love it. But yeah, just wanted to touch on that one, and then obviously because of all your ADHD stuff, I've seen you made some more videos again recently.
Yeah. So finally, managed to swap out and kind of because like in the last part, I was saying like how I was struggling to kind of get content out, and I was kind of struggling on how it looked and how it felt, and kind of felt like I'd lost my way a bit. But I recorded some bits that evening actually after I'd seen yourself, and the day after, I think as well. So they're all kind of banked up, just waiting to kind of like edit them slowly and then re-release them really, and kind of change the way I'm doing it, I think.
What do you mean? Sorry, change the way you're doing it.
So like kind of just gonna rather than going like the same kind of intro like hi, I'm Alex and this is my part, kind of, because obviously like we're saying, like you lose viewers really quickly, like kind of the first 6-7 seconds is when you need to be hitting people and getting them looped in. So I've kind of, like I said last time, I've moved kind of the start to the end sort of thing. So the end to the start, sorry. So like it's quite a simple move, but it's just to try and get people hooked straight away. So that's the kind of process I'm going to go to, more of a kind of experience-led kind of production over a kind of step-by-step bullet point that I've been doing already. Like it's kind of been quite a process, quite like not boring, but very like this is the middle, this is the start, this is the middle, this is the end. Whereas now it's kind of hopefully going to flow a little bit more and be a little bit more kind of storytelling and experience rather than just stating where I'm at.
Yeah, I was watching something. I don't know if I'll be able to find it on here, but I was watching something with Mr. Beast. His advice, and he's just saying about that first 5 seconds is the key to keeping people on. He said like people you lose your audience in that first like 5 seconds like that, and he said after that it kind of levels off. So the trick is to try and keep people at the start as much as you can, and then you'll have more viewers for longer essentially. And his advice to that was, I'm trying to find it on here. I'm trying to find it in a written format rather than like skim through a video, if I can find it. But essentially, he says, in the thumbnail and the title, tell them exactly what it's about, and then the first 5 seconds, don't disappoint them. So like, don't talk about anything else other than. So say you said, like the titles, I don't know, how to get more TikTok views or something like that. Start off with, I'm going to show you how to get more TikTok views. Boom. Then once they're on that video, they know this is exactly what they've signed up for, essentially. Obviously, he's talking from a YouTube perspective, like from that, but it works the same in short form content as well. So it's a case of, like, this is what they expect. Tell them you're getting what you expect. And he said after that, once they know they got what they expect, they will stay on for longer, and especially try and give them then after you can give them like little hooks along the way about stuff like, or wait till the end to find out this, to keep them on the hook a little bit longer. And he said that the longer the video goes, the less kind of intense and extreme it has to be, because people will just stay at a certain point.
Yeah.
So and I think that's the way you need to look at it. But like I say, if you start doing your introduction every time, it's probably going to lose a lot of the audience straight off the bat.
Yeah, 100%. I think like that's something that I probably should have looked at doing later down when I've got like a kind of a consistent, committed kind of viewer base. That's when they're going to start getting interested. And like I said, I wish I did kind of some stuff before, like some memes before, some kind of general content before, like kind of the pre-med stuff, just to kind of get people interested and have that natural kind of hook off of just that change. Obviously, I didn't. So now I'm kind of going for like the start of my video. The most recent one I put out was ADHD medication does not cure ADHD. So instantly, it's something that's a bit not like an antagonist, but it's something that could be potentially seen as a bit controversial, a little bit like antagonistic, and people go, "What do you mean?" And then hopefully that's when you kind of get the link in, and then obviously then the video kind of then naturally followed itself, and kind of try to make it a little bit more obviously like the editing, try to keep it fairly low, and it wasn't too edited intense. I think it only took me like kind of half the time it took me for my last video, so just kind of keep it a little bit more real, a little more fresh, and more kind of relatable, really.
Yeah, and I think people are very like worried about, it has to be consistent, it has to be this, it has to be that. It doesn't. The thing is, people think it all has to be the same all the time. But if it's the same all the time, you're not going to find new audience. You know what I mean? So like doing stuff like memes and different things to like pull different people in. I don't know if you like him or you watch any of his stuff or whatever, but I've seen Gary V.
I think I have, to be fair. Who's that?
So Gary Vaynerchuk, I'll find him on here, right? He does loads of different types of content, like because he tries stuff.
Yeah.
I'll put it up on here. Share my screen now. I've got it.
Is he a YouTuber or is he a short form content creator?
So he's on every single platform, but what he does is he has a business called VaynerMedia, which is huge, which teaches people and does it for people.
All right.
Essentially, he does it for like a lot of like bigger brands and stuff. But like, you look at all his videos, right? They're all very different. He's always him. That's the thing, but they're all very different. He tries memes. He's got like stuff like quotes on carousels. You know what I mean? He like quotes on videos on just single images and stuff, and he just tries everything. And he says it all the time. He tries loads of stuff. A lot of it won't work, but when they find what works, then they can hammer it. But he's doing this cross platforms, so TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, He's everywhere on everything. But like, you can see some of these, like you get some big views on some of them, but then some of them are relatively low compared to the rest. But that's because he just tries stuff.
Yeah, I like that. It's like, is it like he clearly doesn't have like a niche other than it's him. That's his USP, I guess, and it is like
It's
he just
him.
does him and
He talks business, but like the thing is, and this is what like a few people say, is you are the niche because there's only one you. So like, don't worry about it has to be a niche. You are the niche. You're individual. You're you. Make it about you. Make it like your interests, who you are. So like you're reaching out to people who are like you essentially, or have share interest in you. And it goes back to like Joe Rogan as well. Look at his podcast; he talks about everything. Nothing's off on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think obviously I think Joe Rogan obviously comes from a background where people got that interest in him because of who he is and what he is. Whereas this guy, he looks. I mean, that one there, the pinned one, 31.7 million views. That is for someone that's like obviously then getting 1,000 on his most recent one. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's mad numbers.
Like I mean, he's talking about kids and stuff there, right? He's talking about kids. Like this is I've seen this clip this morning. It was about kids and the participation trophies and all that. Get rid of them, all that kind of crap.
Yeah, I mean that participation trophy stuff splits the room, doesn't it?
Yeah, but like he's on about that, but he's not really an authority in that. But he's obviously got an interest in it. He's got kids as well, and he's got an interest in it, and like the way he was brought up and everything else. He just talks about loads of different crap, man.
Yeah, I'll have to give him a view because he looks like he's quite interesting. To be fair, like
just him awfully trying to surf.
I don't think I'd be able to cope with that sort of stuff. I can barely stand up on dry land on both feet.
Absolutely no control over his body, but this is the kind of stuff, and that's what I mean. It doesn't need to be consistently the same. You just need to be real. You know what I mean? If you're real and about, authentically you, then it'll be fine and it'll work.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to go for. The new stuff, and obviously try to get some more kind of shorter kind of length content and stuff. That's not just me sat down talking to a camera, more like actual like day in the life stuff, me doing stuff. Also, I mean, the video that's due to come out soon. Obviously, I've kind of found that I've not done as much recently because I've not been as motivated and kind of struggled a little bit. But obviously, hopefully, kind of now the summer's kind of kicking in a bit and holidays and whatnot coming up, hopefully I can get some kind of different content, some more fun and real stuff. I don't like sitting down in front of a desk. I don't do that for a job. I don't do it for a living. I never have, and I never will do it. So I'm hopefully just kind of get something a little bit more active, a little bit more real in there.
Yeah, and you got to try and do stuff that fits in your life. So it's difficult, especially I think it's more difficult in the UK than it is in the US. A lot of people do it in the US, but like people don't bat an eyelid out there, do they? Everybody's like
do what they want.
Active and different, aren't they? Whereas in the UK, if you start walking around vlogging and talking and that, you're gonna get a lot of shit.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen that video? There was an American couple. They do like the kind of NPC stuff. So like, and she does it really well. So she does a non-playable character. Like she genuinely looks like she's from a game. When you watch it, you think like someone's dubbed this over from a game. And she's at Silverstone, and all the people in the crowd are looking at her like, "Who the fuck's this guy?" Like she's like pretending to be like a non-playable character. So she stood there like giving it the arms and like, doing the little bounce and stuff. And then the guy with the camera bumps into her, and she like goes, "Hey!" And then she flips around, and then she carries on doing what she's doing, but like facing away from the track, just facing towards people. Just looks bizarre, like kind of what NPCs are like. And the British public actually sat around just looking at her like, "What are you doing?" And everyone's giving like evil looks and just like the dirties as well. Like, and she's just cracking on. She doesn't break character once. She's just solid. Like, I'm here. I'm doing what I need to do. You guys are in my content. You're making it for me, sort of thing. Like, I mean, like that's the level of kind of self protection I'll never have. But yeah, she was like both of them. I mean, they're so good. It's really clever. I think imagine you need to have some sort of flow to yourself naturally anyway, and like, acting ability, but it's mental.
Yeah, I just think doing that and like talking and stuff in loving it, like as you're walking about in the UK, people just think you're off your head.
Yeah,
you'll get a load of stick for it, won't you?
Yeah, like the police going, "Oh, this mental guy on the street."
People don't bat an eyelid in America. Everybody seems to be doing it.
Yeah, honestly, like when I saw it, and it was at the Grand Prix. I was like, no way, because like obviously the Grand Prix is quite a expensive day, especially in the UK, and it attracts a very specific clientele of people, and people are there for the F1. And if you're not talking about the F1 or interested in the F1 or like when like the merch and stuff, people look at you like you're some sort of second-rate human over there. Unless you're like a diehard F1 fan that knows everything about the sport, then they're not interested. But yeah, these people like just doing their thing, like just being there, like just existing. It was bizarre to see, but very refreshing for that sort of scene.
Yeah, and it's getting to that point and having that courage to go out and do it and just film you being you. You know what I mean? Just like and that's one of the things that Gary B used to do a lot. He doesn't do it as much anymore, but he used to just be like out and about, like when he's going places doing stuff. He just get on there and just say what you had to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and just move on. I think if you can do that, you can make it part of your normal day-to-day life and not have to like. I think the problem with content creation is if you have to go out of your way massively to do it, and then it all becomes a little fake and a bit, you know what I mean, a bit not real because you're setting it up, you're planning it, and it's just like. I mean, you probably need to plan a little bit within reason if you want to cover certain topics, but you just got to be careful. You just got to be careful not go too far one way for it to become fake, really.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, especially for ADHD, like the people that are going to watch my videos are people that have either got neurodiversity or in relationships with neurodiversity, or friends or family or whatever. People that are actually interested in it for a reason. So I obviously need to make it like that hook point, that kind of. Because if I've like that's one with ADHD, there's no I'm going to sit down and listen to someone talk about their life for 4 minutes. I want like a couple of minutes of information. I want it fun. I want it moving. I want it energetic. I want something to catch my eye and be like, oh, that's shiny. And that's kind of the route I'm going to try and go down now. Just kind of keep it a little bit more that like what I would like to watch, really.
Yeah, and like I've just pulled up the thing here, so I'll show it to you now. But ADHD. Let's get this on. There you go. Like the number of patients prescribed medication for ADHD since 2015. Like, so it's more than doubled. So there's going to be a lot of interest in it. You know what I mean? A lot of people just starting on medication. A lot of people like. It wouldn't surprise me if half the people getting medication here now at this point sought help at this point.
Yeah, I mean, is that for private or does it say it's public healthcare?
So this isn't a field trust. It doesn't say where the stats are from. It's UK based though, so it's his UK stats. But
probably is just overall then, isn't it? Which is crazy. Like
that's it. This is NHS.
NHS time. So that doesn't even include just the kind of the people like myself that have to go private in the end to try and get somewhere like say people that are in that last part, they'll be looking for help probably 2, 3, maybe 4 years before that even gets to the point of medicated. Because obviously you've got to get yourself diagnosed, you've got to get yourself then finding the right meds and then to be stable on them. That whole process probably takes about 3 years in this country at the moment, especially on the NHS.
Yeah, it takes a long time. But it just shows, you know what I mean, there's a lot. And I think of a lot of that increase will just be a bit more acceptance and a bit more recognition for it now. Like in the schooling systems and stuff like that, where it wasn't like people didn't even think about it when I was in school. But
no, exactly. I mean, it's changed over the last 5 years, hasn't it? Really?
Yeah, it wasn't even a thing that was considered when I was in school. They were just the kids that were playing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty much all it was. Like, obviously, like I went to school probably a few years after you, and then like people like school now. I mean, like I'm 10 years older than the last school age leavers now, and like it's probably a lot more accepted for them than it was for me, and honestly even more so than it was for you. Like like you say, it was just for the naughty kids before, and now it's like kids that are generally struggling and like getting the right support in place. I mean, like the education system will only thrive off it, and the future employers and stuff like that will only thrive off it, as well as the people themselves.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's more widespread. Like the knowledge about it. It's still not great, and I'm not sure there's enough support for the people who are actually going through it either. Because I'm not sure they actually provide you with any support, really, do they? The NHS?
Not really. I think when I first went through the NHS for it, I think like it was kind of like, oh, you're gonna have to wait, and then you get a form in the post. And you get it's like a 6-7 page form, and it's on some like horrible grainy paper, and it's questions that you've got to try and handwrite as well. And like that would be enough to even turn some of the people off and go, you know what, I'll forget, I don't want to do it, or I'll forget, and then you'll never do it, and then you just get, like it just puts you back again. And then if you don't reply in 3 months, they just take you off the waiting list, and then you go back into it, and you're like, oh shit, now I'm back to the start, and people just go, oh, I made it this far. I'm 27 years old. Why bother?
Yeah, and that becomes the danger in it, especially when you become an adult, to try and go and get help and support. Then after is even more difficult, I think.
Yeah, 100%. I think it will hopefully get better and more supportive over the years, especially now it's becoming there's less of a stigma involved. There's less of a ADHD, autism, neurodiversity. There's less of that now. It's more just like people accept that's a thing, and kind of, I mean, for some people they use it as like a superpower, and some people like use it to kind of be who they are, and then the medication then helps them stabilise going forward. But obviously, it will get better over the years. It's obviously just for those people that are suffering now. Yeah. It's not ideal, is it?
That's why it's important. I think people like you share your journeys and stuff, and share what you're going through, so people can have something to relate to, something to tie into. And even the people who who don't have ADHD, or have like friends or family members who have ADHD and stuff like that, so they can understand it better, so they can get a better idea of what their friends are going through, what their family members are going through, to like maybe try and relate to it a little bit, and support them in a better way, in a way that will actually help that person.
Yeah, I think that's the silent kind of part of ADHD people don't really see. It's the effect on the people around you as well. Like, being on the meds, I can see it more, much than a lot more than I used to be able to. But like, my partner has to go through it kind of the same way I've got to go through it. Like the whole process. Obviously, I'm taking the meds and it affects me mentally, but it affects her because of how I am. Like, the mood swings that come with it, the side effects, the lack of eating, sleeping. Ultimately, she's there for every single part. Like every time we go to bed, we're there together. Every time we eat, she's there with me. Whenever I'm on the meds, whenever I'm off the meds, having the crash, like at home, she's there. And I think people don't realise that it's so draining to be around. And then as the person with ADHD, to then see that, obviously you're starting on the tablets and you're aware of so much more around you, and all you can see is the person that you're with who's supporting you is suffering because of the process you're going through as well. And it's such a turn off that you just don't want to commit to that process. And I think that people don't realise how tough it is, especially for parents of children with ADHD. Like, it can be really tough because they're not as in control of their emotions as someone who's 27, 28, who's just started the meds. A child that's starting on them or not on them at all, or misses their meds or whatever, or can't get them, it can be severely detrimental. It's a really debilitating mental disorder at the end of the day.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm gonna pull up your TikTok on here, if that's all right.
Yeah, go for it.
Just so people can find it. So, I think so. I've got on the bottom of my screen, I've got your username anyway for TikTok underneath you on my screen. I don't know whether that'll show when this recording goes out and it comes through, but here's the page anyway, if people do want to find it. So it's ALEXS_ADHD. And it is quite worthwhile watching. Like, especially if you know somebody with ADHD, or if you have it yourself, just to have a look at it and see what some of the journeys like, especially the medication journey. Like I say, it would be interesting if you did stuff beforehand, or maybe in the future if you do a couple of days non-medicated, maybe just to have maybe a day in the life of you when you're not medicated, and a day in the life of you when you are medicated. That'd be quite interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting experiment for sure for those around me at the time.
Could be quite interesting, and then you could potentially put them together, little clips of each, like morning, what you did in the morning, one versus the other one, and combine them or something. But it might be interesting for people to see the difference. But there's definitely some worthwhile content in there for people to watch and to pick up on, and to learn a little bit about it. And what do you say? You've got a lot of videos waiting in the wings.
Yeah, there's a couple, 2 or 3 that are kind of done. They're coming out, and a couple of kind of ideas that I've got as well that I'm going to be kind of pushing out over the next week or so. I mean, I've put one out this morning, the most recent one, the Donald Trump one, which is kind of weird timing after we talked about it today. But trying to go for some more short form, kind of fun, engageable content, and obviously keep the kind of more use speech, kind of quotation marks, but more educational kind of learning stuff will still come out as well, but kind of try to target more like short-term, relatable, this is what life's actually like sort of stuff. Just kind of, not make light of it, but to add that kind of acceptance, kind of laugh that you kind of, don't cry. If you don't laugh, you'll cry sort of thing. So it's more just kind of...
I think the short grabbing stuff is obviously quite helpful as well for people with ADHD.
Yeah.
which will get their attention, get their interest, and then once they feel, in that place to watch stuff, maybe they'll follow your page and maybe they'll come and have a look, as and when they feel they're able to sit and do the longer stuff, they'll sit and do it and, get some value from it.
Yeah, I think what people see of my stuff is there's I don't kind of plan it too hard going in. I kind of just almost go into it and wing it and kind of, I mean, if you can see the amount of stuff that I kind of don't put out and kind of I've saved like bloopers or edits and stuff, and hopefully at some point I'll be confident enough to release that sort of stuff and be like, oh, this is what I'm doing when I'm like, when it's not perfect. I'm kind of there's one the other day when I recorded the second most recent video where I just looked at the camera about 45 seconds, didn't say anything, couldn't think of the words to come out, and like that almost like that social anxiety just hit me, and it was just me and a camera.
Just release that. I want to see that. That's good.
Yeah,
no music,
I might have to post it.
Original audio.
Yeah, it's a hard watch. I'm just like ticking out, like just like ticking, and I'm literally just like kind of like just like bopping around, just like my head's basically in my chair, just kind of looking out the window, scratching my head, like just making sounds, and I'm just like, I looked back and I was like, what is going on there? But
that needs to be released.
Yeah, we'll see.
Just need to get the caption right, and then that's perfect.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'll show it at some point off of here, and we'll have to brainstorm some ideas because it's one of them. I'm going to put it out there. I want to get it right.
Don't send it to me because I'll just post
it. Yeah, I can't fucking trust you. Just like put my shit everywhere. Yeah, no. Yeah. But like that's sort of stuff that I hope I want to try and put out over the time, just to keep it more real because it's tough and like people might laugh and whatever. But ultimately, that's what ADHD is. It is like it can be a superpower. It can be cracking, and it can like make you see the world a little bit differently. And people think, oh wow, you've got some really out the box ideas. Some like really famous athletes, celebrities. I think Ryan Reynolds has got it, and he's one of the most famous people kicking around on the acting scene at the moment, and kind of one of the most football owners in the world now. And he just does his thing, like him. I think Ryan Gosling's got it as well, and them guys are just like excelling. But at the same time, it can be debilitating to the point where I imagine there are days when they just don't move. Obviously, they're never ever going to put that out there, and that's the side that I want to almost put out there and be like, look, it can be one, like it can be class, but it can also be fucking terrible as well.
I think the problem is, I mean, looking at the people that you just mentioned there with it, I think where they're at now versus their struggles at the beginning maybe are completely different. I think that's what people are going to be careful of. Don't compare yourself to people like that now who have made it work for them and got to this point, but before they got to this point, there was a whole lot of struggle before that, and that's what people forget. Like the beginning of their careers and the struggle that they had coming through was probably more relatable than where they're at now when they're multimillionaires and probably have plenty of support that they can just have on hand, paid for, etc. And they can make adjustments for themselves and their lives, as they see fit. Probably makes their life more manageable in that sense.
Yeah,
it's like probably at the beginning when they're trying to break through and they're trying to make it and get through. That's probably where the real struggle was, I imagine. Obviously,
I'm definitely
not knowing really, but that's my perception from the outside. And people are too quick to compare themselves to people who have already like achieved stuff and made it and got through the struggles, rather than thinking where were they at when they were struggling? Like, because that's where they're at. Like, try and do what they did then, not do what they're doing now. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that people with ADHD are really guilty of at neurodiversity in general is kind of, it's almost like when you get an instruction manual, and people always say like blokes get an instruction manual, they look at this, build the table, the set of chairs, whatever it is that you got. You give someone with ADHD like a how-to guide on where you are now to where you need to be, or if you give you like a process, we'll look at that and go, much more fun is if I put this into a paper airplane, threw it over there, and went and carried on with my day over there, and then I'll remember the planes there later, and I'll put it in the bin later, and then by the time I pick that up, I'll see something else. And that's like giving us the process. We're not going to use it. Giving us an instruction book, we're not going to use it. But almost we kind of, I think that's what the meds help with. It kind of makes you realise that you do need to have an organised chaos, otherwise it's not ever going to work out.
Yeah, you need to thrive in the chaos, but you just need to make the chaos work for you.
Really. Yeah.
I'm the same like with stuff. I don't know if you've got like, I wouldn't say necessarily an instruction, because if it's short and sweet, I can do it, and I'm like, yeah, that, like if it's like one or two steps. If it's a bit long and you look at it and you're like, it just overwhelms me instantly. I'm like, nah.
Yeah, there's too much to it. I'm just like, that's not fun. That can be tomorrow's job. and then the
But
day
if it's
after that.
like microwaving food and like I was on the back of a packet and it tells you like, oh, put it in for 3 minutes, but I've just got to be exact. I've got to do it exact.
Yeah,
Like I
I'm
can't.
awful.
It's got to be
Yeah,
perfect.
I'm awful for that sort of stuff. I'm like, if it's just like, 3 minutes, 30 seconds stare and put it in for another 3, you best believe it's going in for 6 because I'm not opening that microwave once, like more than once.
I'll do that. No, I can't do that because it tells me on the tin you've got to do it this way. I've got to do it that way.
Yeah, I just like,
If not, it's ruined.
I'm just like, I see like more than one step. And I'm like, no, you can, like, I can do all at the same time, and I'll be like I'll have like a packet of rice that I need to have with, say, like I might grab some chicken. I've got a rice, and it's like that's 2 minutes. That's like a minute and a half. I'm like, yeah, 3.5 minutes. Bosh, and it doesn't ever come out warm enough. But
I've
yeah,
got to be by the book. If I'm cooking and I'm following a recipe, I've got to follow the recipe exactly. Otherwise, it's ruined. I won't eat it.
yeah, I think that's the stark difference between like some forms of like neurodiversity. Like it's like you get like so many different forms. Like it doesn't show up in the same like the same in two different people. Like it's rarely the same. Like you've got your, especially with ADHD, you've got your inattentive, you've got your hyperactivity, and then you've got people that have got both. And that's where obviously like the hyperactivity is one thing because they can just bounce, they can deal with it, and then like the inattentiveness, they can follow kind of, that's kind of more in women, so they can follow a process, they can be calm, and they can look more put together. And then you got the mix of the people that got the mix, like myself, who kind of got both, and that's where the chaos is because you 1 minute you'll be like you're basically a human contradiction. 1 minute you're like yourself, like I'll follow the rules to the rules, and like if I'm cleaning the house, the whole house has got to be clean, otherwise I'm not stopping. And then other days I'll be like, too ready to hoover the house, like no one's coming in. I've not gone anywhere. I've laid on the sofa for 6 days. I can wait until next Sunday, and then I'll be like, Jeff's coming in, and she'll be like, have you done the house? I'll be like, nah. It's messy, but it's that's neurodiversity because it is it's fluid, and I think that's what makes it special, really.
Yeah. It's everybody is different with it, and it's quite interesting to be like how people are different, and like the different nuances to stuff, and how they like perceive stuff or how they act in certain situations and stuff.
I mean, you've worked with me for long enough, so you've seen me probably at my best, kind of again in kind of quote marks really, and my worst, and then kind of my most crazy, my most calm, and it's like there's no, like without the meds, there was no science to it. It's just one day I'd come in and be like, yeah, I'm gassed, I'm good to go, and then about 5 minutes later I'd be like, you know what, I actually know who I am or what I'm doing or why I'm here. It'd be like a flick of a switch really, and managing that is probably pretty tough, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's good fun, isn't it?
Yeah, I think having someone on your team who's got ADHD is one thing, but having like a few of them makes it into something else. But obviously, it's just finding that balance that works for them, isn't it? Like there's a lot of management skills to it.
It's just trying to understand them really, and try and give them an opportunity to like help you understand, really, isn't it? Just like the more you understand the individual, the more you can kind of make it work for them, which then makes it work for the team, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
but yeah,
that understanding will grow in it over time, hopefully, with kind of people that lead and teams and just kind of general kind of different jobs. Really, it'll all hopefully become more understood over years to come.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of organisations get stuck in a rut like in the past, but I think when new generations of people come through and get into leadership positions and stuff like that, I think it'll just get better and better.
Yeah, hopefully. It makes my life easier.
Well, yeah, not necessarily the immediate future, but you'd think that they'll have a better understanding as they come through, having grown up, with a better understanding of it and stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Time will tell.
We shall, I think. Yes, that it will.
Time will tell. Right. What else are we going to cover? Are you happy with where we're at?
I think so. I think there's it's been one of them kind of slow weeks. And have you got anything that you've kind of think? Obviously, we talk a lot about my ADHD and stuff. Obviously, we talked about your TikTok the other day and how you're putting out a lot more stuff. And what's the plan with that?
I'm just going to keep pumping out content, really. So I'm just going to be putting out, just trying to grow a bit of a following. And pump out content. So I've managed to get my following up to 4,664 followers from a hard zero in, when was it? May? I was starting a hard zero. So I managed to get 4,000 in nearly 5,000 in 3 months. But that's a lot of work. A lot of work. I'm not gonna lie. That was get rid of that one. yeah, that was. Let me try and share it.
I mean, like growing from video, I don't think people realize how tough it is to grow. Obviously, in this sort of market where it's kind of,
Yeah, so I'm
you know,
up to
in like
4,600 now, but yeah, this was a lot of work. And it's not necessarily the posts, and the posts don't get particularly a lot of views. I think my best one's got like nearly 2,000 views. That's about it, I think. But a lot of what I do is spending the time to engage with people and talk to people, message people, interact with people, and that's where the benefit comes from, really, and that's where the followers come from. It's a lot of graft. This one, sorry, delete that one.
You to live like God is love.
So that one's locked. So something I always do. I can't see it on here. It's got to be on here somewhere. But essentially, there's a I can't see it on here. There's a TikTok creator studio. Essentially,
yeah, the correct studio. Yeah.
that you can go into, and when you go into that, I'll get my phone. There's let me find out what it's called. I cannot recall. Yeah, so go TikTok Creator Studio, and then there's a button on there called Account Check. I don't know if you can see it on there. By my finger, Account Check.
Yeah.
So if you go into that and you run that, that's why I just deleted that last post, because that last post I could just see from the outset I haven't got a single view. So it's obviously not an A-OK video. So it'll check all your videos, it'll go through them, and it'll tick to make sure that everything's okay. If it is, it'll go through everything, it'll check your username and everything else at the top as well, and it'll tell you if your account's in good standing or not. So you need to do that almost every day, because you need to make sure that TikTok's not flagging your account for anything. Because if you start flagging your account for stuff, because you might not even know that they're flagging certain posts,
Yeah.
then that's going to affect your outreach, your shares, people who come to see your videos and stuff like that. So it's important to get rid of them ones ASAP. And it's just a learning process. If it gets flagged, it just means your content was crap, or it doesn't fit the platform at least. So then you get rid of it and you tweak and you try and make something different next time.
Yeah, I think that's what people don't realize about TikTok is that the algorithm. Obviously, people always talk about it, but like it is quite heavily controlled, like centrally by TikTok. Like obviously, like say with the kind of creator studio, it's obviously been quite helpful for people to understand now how to make kind of content, and something that you might put out might think, oh yeah, it's going to slap, and then it does nothing, and then other things you put out, you think, oh, that's going to be class, and it's crap. Like, I've got that one of me running around Asda on my one from back in COVID. I think it got like 60 odd K views, and all it was me running down the toilet paper aisle.
Yeah.
Like, people try to say there's a science to it. It's just about literally just putting out content that's relatable, got interactions, and and that studio thing does help a lot with it.
Yeah, I think you need to put out content. You need to find out what works, and you need to. It's like I said previously, and actually that Mr. Beast documentary, he said something very similar. He said nobody's going to watch your stuff at the start. No one. You're going to get like very few views. So don't even worry about it. It's not important. Likes are not important. Views are not important at the start. What's important is you put content out. So you put content out, and then the next time you just make something better. Like, make one thing better about it. If you're planning them, make a script. If it's a vlog or something, make the lighting better, make the audio a little bit better, learn a new editing trick. Just like one thing every time, and then like it's just about reps. Then
yeah, 100%.
Until you've done 100 videos, like minimum, and he's on about YouTube long form videos as well. So until you've done like 100 odd videos on that, he says crap. It's going to be crap. My wife is escaping. I need to message her so she doesn't take my gym bag, because I got to go to the gym. Stand by.
Yeah, no worries. I think ultimately that's kind of that's all part of the process, isn't it? It's all about learning and putting out the content and just kind of finding out the actual flow. I think like the first few of my videos are quite robotic and quite static and quite like I obviously look nervous, and I think like you kind of naturally just kind of fall into the flow, and like it's like the same with this podcast we're doing. Like eventually we'll get better and we'll find a niche and we'll find everything we like to talk about every week, and that'll become that. There's ideas we want to play around over time, isn't there? So
yeah, I think a lot of mine, right? A lot of my stuff is just raw me. I've tried some different stuff and things as well. Just played around with it. Some of that is to try new editing things. Some of that is to try and find what works, what people like, etc. And then a lot of it is just me being me, because ultimately, if it's not sustainable and it's not something I can't keep doing, then it's not going to last anyway. So,
Yeah.
it needs to be me just being me. Ultimately, that needs to be the majority of the content. So,
Yeah, 100%.
if I can't do that, then it ain't going to last. But
yeah, I think that's obviously that's what the thing is. It's obviously keeping the content kind of current, real, modern. I mean, like, no doubt, obviously this year we've got FPL starting soon, which I think starts today or tomorrow. And obviously, no doubt we'll be looking at that again because obviously last year I think we finished exactly the same points last year in terms of the work standing table, or I think you might have finished 3 more.
Did my usual where I just faded off at the end and stopped looking at it.
Yeah, I think this year, I think because we've got this, I think we'll keep probably a better eye. And obviously, like I say, you have parts of the year where you kind of forget about it, and you kind of have a few weeks and you're out, and then once you're out of it, you're out.
Yeah,
so obviously, I imagine in the weeks to come we'll be looking at that and discussing, especially like kind of when the new season's coming up and starting soon. Obviously, there's an EFL one this year as well, which obviously have a lot more interest from people like myself who are EFL fans. I think it's like all 3 leagues as well.
One.
Yeah, I think so. I think you can have like obviously the players are all like it's the values are like kind of matching. So like your best players in the league are going to be 10 million. Your best players in the charity will be 10 million. And obviously it's good about just picking the right players and knowing your EFL. So I think that would be quite interesting, especially for EFL fans. I think it'd be a lot more engaging. So it'd be interesting to see how that affects the FPL scene, especially with that having. I think there's 2 new chips this year as well in FPL. So that'd be something interesting to talk about in the future weeks. And know that will breed some form of content and following from that as well, because we're not the best FPL managers ever, but we have good fun with it. And
I'm great.
It will start with a good FPL name as well. So that'll be the thing. I think that's the thing I'll be planning this week is what my FPL name's going to be. Before I even think about a team, I've got to find a good name.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna wait. I like to wait and see what happens with the movers and the shakers in the transfer market. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be interesting in itself, isn't it? Like it's gonna. I mean, like it's already happening now. Like now the Euros is finished, this is when we're gonna start seeing the teams making the big moves. I think.
Yeah. City being linked with a lot more. I'd like that.
Oh mate, he's an incredible player. But I feel like City have got enough incredible players. They can probably just save them for everyone else to keep it a bit more interesting. I'm not sure I can watch another City title. Like as much as I didn't want Arsenal or Liverpool to win it last year because their fan bases are quite hard to get behind sometimes, but. I don't think I can do another City title. I think we just need something else like a Leicester to come up and win it.
It's probably going to be Pep's last year, isn't it? So he could do it £500 and then he can leave, can't he? Leave on a high.
He can take over England.
Yeah, because City will just, I don't know, after Pep, there's going to be a horrible transition period anyway. So people will have their chance to have their fun then. Let Pep go out on a high, I think. £500 is strong, isn't it?
I can't think of a team that's ever done that in terms of like a big like European league, other than obviously PSG. But and Bayern Munich with their leagues are boring. Like a decent actual competitive league.
Yeah, Premier League is the only one to do it 4 times in a row, anyway. So
yeah, exactly. It's definitely never happened in Premier League era. I doubt it's happening in proper First Division era either. I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be the best manager of all time, isn't he? Let's be honest.
I mean, that's up for debate, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't think it is. I think his record speaks for itself.
Like, no, I still think it's Ferguson personally. We've had this conversation many a times before, and I find it hard to let past Ferguson.
I don't think it's Ferguson though. How can it be Ferguson?
Just because he did it with so many different teams and teams that were like crap as well. Like, yeah, he won a Champions League with Aberdeen, wherever it was.
Yeah, back when all football was like amateur and that. That's different.
Well, that's not his fault, is it? You can only coach what's in front of you.
Yeah, but that's very, very different, isn't it? It's like if some random guy jumps in a ring and knocks out an amateur boxer, that's no biggie, is it? If you jump in the ring and knock out Anthony Joshua, it's a different ball game completely.
Yeah, I feel like Ferguson did do that a little bit though. Like his first title at United, they weren't exactly a well-beaten team, and that it was still a decent era at that point.
No, but they spent the most money and bought the best players, didn't they? As well.
Yeah,
that's the criticism. Yeah, but that's the criticism of City. That's why people say he's not as good because he's spent all the money, but nobody spent more than Man United in the first.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially relatively obviously everyone's going like, Ferdinand only cost 15 million, but at the time that was 110. That was that was big money then, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
I mean, it's an argument that will stand the test of time.
It took Alex Ferguson 7 years to win anything with United, and City's 8, and City's what, you got 6 Premier Leagues with City in 8 seasons as Pep. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I mean, it is crazy. Like, obviously, football's different, isn't it? Like, I think he came in with so much more, and obviously Ferguson, obviously City were a better team when Pep came in than United were, no doubt. But I think Pep's immediate impact was certainly stronger than Ferguson's. It's certainly like his like. I think Ferguson led a very different type of era of football, but obviously when Pep came in, City were better. They were almost not. They weren't Premier League. They weren't Premier League winners ready. Let's be honest. Like they weren't. They had one. I think they won 1 or 2 before he came in. Had they? But you know,
well, the Premier League had started in '92. He was already there then, so.
Yeah, I mean, like when Pep came in, I can't remember like how close City were to titles and stuff like that, and champion like cups and stuff like that. But like obviously Pep's coming in and made an immediate impact. Where I think obviously it's, he's not got. I don't think he's got the same longevity at one club as Ferguson had at United. I don't think I don't think he would be able to run it forever. Like obviously City are getting pretty close to being toppled now. I think like we're at the closest like City have ever been to getting toppled. I think, aren't we? Really, with Arsenal and Liverpool and dare I say United and Chelsea, if they ever come back up. I think Pep probably knows that as well. There's no. I mean, there's no longevity in any football now, is there? Like, you're not going to get another Ryan Giggs again, are you? He's played 20 years at the same club.
Probably not, no. But let's just show you this for discussion, look, right? Here's the stats against them, right? Each other.
Yeah, I'm going to have to zoom in so I can see it.
Pep's win ratio 73.7%. You know what I mean?
Is that all-time Premier League?
This is just Pep's Premier League, nothing else, just Premier League, and Fergie's Premier League. You know what I mean? That's quite.
Yeah, I mean, like ultimately, when you look at like the longer term stats, it's not that different between them.
On what? Sorry.
When you look at like sorry, like the actual stats that are like longer term stats, like obviously your wins and losses and stuff like that, like it's always going to be higher, obviously with more games and like he's obviously like nearly won like double, obviously in less than double the games, but like obviously City were already a dominated team. Like if you took Ferguson's first 2 or 3 years out, they are shit in their first couple of years. Like they had like
no, that's where you're going wrong. So all of his shit years are out of this because this is Premier League only.
Was it just Prem?
So it's from '92 and they won the first 92-93 when they won the first Premier League. So that was this is their winning era. Only the winning era. And Pep's already won, like percentage wise, he's already more on wins. He's got a higher win percentage. Like I'm sure if you worked all this out, points in that, because if you win percentages and more wins, it's a relativity, then that's going to be higher. So like statistically, he's better for a start. And then you watch all the stuff with like you watch that podcast. I can't remember what it's called. What's the football one that we like?
Stick to football.
Yeah. But even on there, you watch it like on there, and they talk about like how Alex Ferguson never did any coaching, so he never got any hands-on coaching. And he literally just brought in the best players. When he brought Steve McLaren in, when Brian Kidd left to be assistant manager, he brought Steve McLaren in because Steve McLaren done really well at Derby and like as a coach at Derby. Steve McLaren came in and asked him what shall I like train them, and he said just do what you did at Derby. There's no tactical input. There was no like training input. He would just play 4-4-2. He wouldn't change it. Like he was pig-headed, wouldn't change it. Just play 4-4-2. Like, and he just bought the best players. Like every year, he went out and he bought better players. That's what he did.
I still think in terms of management,
and then put the better players in the team. You know what I mean? He fell out with half the players. He fell out with them all the time.
Yeah, that was certainly his downfall, wasn't it? Ultimately.
Yeah, I struggle to see, like for now, right? Like the way I look at him is if he was in football now, he would be a director of football. That's the role he would be doing.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get many managers anymore, do you? They're more head coaches now, aren't they?
In his office apparently, and just not come out of his office. He wouldn't be on the training pitch. So like he's essentially what now we would call a director of football. And don't get me wrong, he's a very good one because he brought in loads of great players and picked great teams or whatever. But how is he a better manager than Pep, who's like got his hands on in everything? He makes them tweaks, them adjustments to win games, during games, before games, going into games. I just think that's from a football perspective, like from achievements perspective, they're probably neck and neck, and both like it's difficult. It's difficult to separate them from they're just very different, aren't they?
Yeah, I think if you go Premier League era, I think you'd probably be right in saying Pep's a better manager, certainly a better head coach. I think to go long term career, it's a little bit like trying to compare Maradona and Messi. To be honest, isn't it? Like they were the best of their time at two very different times of football. Like, and the longevity, obviously, Messi was much longer than Maradona, in the same way that Ferguson's longevity has currently been longer than Pep's. Whether it'll always be, is, time will tell.
Yeah, I think Pep was done now.
But yeah, I mean, that's the same with Klopp, isn't it? Like, where realistically can you go when you've managed at the top like that for so long?
Yeah, I think the thing is, right, he's achieved a lot in the Alex Ferguson, and he created the environment. He made United what they were when they were dominant. But I just think when you're talking football and management and like hands-on tactical knowledge, the ability to influence football games, I think it's Pep.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like, if you were to kind of, I don't think football have managers anymore personally. I think like the last kind of manager I can think of is probably like all from the kind of Ferguson, Wenger era. Really, like you got coaches now; they're all coaches. They're not like they are head coaches. They're not.
Yeah. I think that's important. I think you need to be able to influence your team tactically, and and give them that level of detail, which that's what Man United never did.
I think that's interesting. The Roy Keane one.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, I wonder how obviously the only like the biggest he's the biggest player from the Man United era who doesn't get on with Ferguson, still call him boss, and still call him this, that, and the other. Like he'll still call him Alex, which I think I wonder how much that affects his vision, because he's a very stubborn man, Roy Keane. Obviously, like there's the back kick,
but he's also very straight.
Yeah, I just don't know if
he's a straight shooter. He's not influenced by the thing, and because I watched this episode when they did this, and he said people will say it's just because I don't get on with him, but it's not. Like Pep Guardiola's better, is what he said.
Yeah.
I know him and Alex Ferguson fell out or whatever at the end, but like Roy Keane's attitude is it was the players that made it, and it was the people in the dressing room that made it. It was like the strong characters, the quality players that actually made that team, and I kind of agree with him from what I've seen. It's like you look at the players they had. I mean, they weren't, and you look how they played. They like tactically, they never really did anything, did they? Other they just went out and played their game 4-4-2, got balls in the box, and trying to get on the end of it. You know what I mean? It's very old school.
I think the more impressive thing about Ferguson is like it was obviously not as tactically spectacular as what Pep does, but ultimately it didn't get toppled. Like, yes, it was pretty simple, and he did supply the best players. Obviously, he did lose games, he did draw games, but I think he was he was the definition of the word manager in terms of like he managed everything around him other than like the actual Pep's like a head coach, he's a tactician, he's a coach and a manager, not like a leading manager. Like, obviously, you don't get him in football anymore because football's all about the art of it now. Like look at like the Euros, and every game was like a game of chess. Whereas football back then, like I'd much rather watch Premier League years than watch a Premier League game now, just purely for the goals. Like the kind of like you don't get like a 50-yard scream anymore. You don't get players like doing like keepy up. Is like you used to get JJ Koch and keepy up. He's in the box before like full volleying it past. Schmeichel in goal, and the net would be like triangle, and it'd be all like that's my preferred football, and I prefer that management style, the kind of like the leader of men, and kind of everyone else does what they do for him, sort of thing. But obviously, like I said, that was when football had longevity and it had that in it. Obviously, now it's so tiring. Like even to watch, it's tiring, and like coaches don't last 10, 15 years at the same team anymore. But I wonder. I always obviously like these are players that are looking at that. I wonder how managers would view Pep versus Ferguson.
Yeah,
like because these are players, and obviously like Neville's always going to say Alex Ferguson because of the relationship they had.
Yeah,
and Carragher's never ever going to say Ferguson because he's a Liverpool player. Obviously Ian Wright, I'm surprised he hasn't got Arsene Wenger high, to be honest, because obviously being an Arsenal boy. But I'll be very interested to see how like Pep's view on Fergie and Fergie's view on Pep, and like someone in between, like a Klopp, like a Wenger, managers that are kind of.
I think Pep and
done both.
would both say the other one's better.
Yeah, probably.
He's just that kind of character, isn't
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see, wouldn't it? Because like Pep is quite, like I said, another straight shooter. Like they was talking the other day. I saw a video the other day of it. His press conference about winning the domestic treble this year. Like, they obviously nearly did it against United, and they were like, "Oh, it's the first one ever," and he was like, "By the men." It's like the women have done it, and so he's honest and like he's like very alert to that fact. So there must be something online somewhere. I have to do some research for the next episode we do and see what managers say, especially ones that have managed in both eras. Like, there's not many that are left now, but kind of the ones that retired over the last 5-10 years, they would have managed in both eras with Pep and with Ferguson. I'd be interested to see how they view it.
I think though, just Pep's influence on world football, the way he's changed the entire game, shows how head and shoulders he is above everybody else. If you ask me, like Alex Ferguson didn't change the game. He couldn't.
No,
change
the game. He just mastered what he did, didn't
he? Yeah, he just did the old way and put better players in the system, and had characters, like big strong characters, like who were winners essentially. And that's what he did, wasn't it? But
just like you could look at it like Pep Apple, and it's innovative and it's different and it changes, it moves all the time. And Ferguson's almost like a Bic pen. Like, it is what it is. It's basic, but you can't beat it. Like you can't beat a Bic pen, can you? Like, it always works. It never explodes unless you unless you break it. It doesn't break. Like, it's reliable. It's not pretty and it's not the best thing in the world. But like, if you were to draw a pen, you'd probably draw a Bic pen, wouldn't you? Like, if you were to talk about football and like probably the biggest, like especially in my lifetime, the most successful team, you'd either look at a City, which would be a fancy thing, or you'd look at United, treble winning team in terms of English teams that you look at. I think there's not a better team than those two in English football history in my lifetime. Like Pep's Champions League winning team and United's treble, can't beat it.
No.
And those teams, obviously, they played different football. So if they played now, City would walk them off the park because of how football is different now. But like, they're both they're in their own eras, they were unbeatable.
Yeah, I think that City team, like, even last year, to be fair, I know they got knocked out by Real Madrid, but I think they should have won that, really.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, and that's how good they are, really, that you're disappointed that they lost on penalties to Real Madrid. And I think if they beaten Real Madrid, I think they'd have gone on to win it again, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, you'd expect so, wouldn't you? I think I think that's probably where he would have stopped if he did it back-to-back. So I think probably for City fans and for Pep, it's probably a good thing they did lose and they haven't gone back-to-back on Champions League. So I think that would have been the thing that made him go, I definitely can't beat that. Like, no one's ever going to beat 5 titles in a row, but no one's ever going to, like, in this country, I don't think I'll ever see an English team do back-to-back Champions League. So obviously Madrid have done it, but I don't think you'll ever see an English team do it.
No, it's a difficult challenge, isn't it? Anyway. And the margins are so small, like that Real Madrid game. They're like, at the first leg, they scored 2 deflected goals, Real Madrid. Like, that's just, what's the chance of that? And they only had like three chances on goal all game. Scored them all. Like,
that's the thing with Madrid, isn't it? They'll take that and they'll do it to you.
Like City over the 2 legs, City dominated them. Absolutely dominated them. A good
Real. Yeah, it was like the one. Was it Spurs you went out to the year Spurs got in the final? And obviously then the year after that you got knocked out by, it was some random team like Napoli or something like that, wasn't it? It was
the year before.
It was like an Italian team that knocked you guys out in the one before that.
I can't remember who knocked us out.
I remember watching, I think it was the COVID year or the year after COVID. I remember watching it in a pub garden, like you guys got knocked out, but it was like a Napoli or Inter Milan. It was this bizarre team. You think like City would knock the 7 shades out of that team if it was a league game, or if it was like a long term thing. It was like a Champions League quarter final when City had all that pressure. Obviously, like I think people don't appreciate in that debate of obviously like the Pep versus like United. Like United obviously didn't make that many later stages of the Champions League under Ferguson either. I think if Pep can go and do back-to-back Champions Leagues like Carlo Ancelotti has done, I think he'll obviously be immortalised. And I think Carlo Ancelotti's probably let down by some of his other managerial spells, like Everton, that it takes him like I don't think he was even on that list that you just showed, was he, Ancelotti? Which I think is mental because that man's won everything.
That's Premier League managers, though, isn't it? And how long did he
Was it
actually
just
do
Prem? Was it?
it? Just Prem. So
Oh,
Prem.
was it just
So
Prem? Fair enough.
all their managers were the ones that had the longest stay, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? But
Look
I
who's
think
on that.
Ancelotti will never get flowers anyway.
You got Mourinho, Wenger, Klopp, Guardiola, Ferguson, all had long tenures, really, because Mourinho need as well for a second stint at Chelsea. I won it again.
Yeah, I think he's significantly slept on as a manager. Again, I think he's tarnished his own reputation at points, like with his United spell, with his Spurs spell. Obviously now he's over in like Fenerbahce or something, isn't he? Or Galatasaray or something bizarre like that. I think like that's the thing with like your Peps and your Fergusons. You'll never see them stoop down. Like when Pep's done, he'll go out at the top, won't he? He's not going to go like he might manage a national team. But he's not going to go down to like Fenerbahce.
Yeah, Ancelotti only did three seasons in the Premier League. That's why he's low.
Where did he go? Was he Chelsea? Was he before that?
Did two seasons at Chelsea and a season and a half. Then he at Everton. So, I think that's why he's not on that list really, because he just weren't here long enough. He's moved around too much.
Yeah, I think he was over at Chelsea like probably a while ago, wasn't it? I can't remember.
2011.
Yeah, so that was like a long time ago. Again, like different football, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like I think he's got to be like. I mean, is he Brazil now? Is he going Brazil? Is it? He's got, or is he still at Madrid?
He's still at Madrid. I don't know. There's been
they were talking
on there, but I don't know if confirmed anything.
I mean, if I'm as an England fan, like obviously there's been a lot of talk of Klopp, and obviously kind of looping back into the very start of the episode, but like can Ancelotti, Pep's gonna be leaving in the next year probably. If Ten Hag doesn't do anything this season, he's gonna have to go. England are going to need a new manager at some point. Brazil are probably looking for a new manager. France are definitely going to be looking for a new manager because I'm pretty sure Deschamps is done now. The way he's been like losing his head in the last few weeks, and especially if they do bad in the Nations League, he's gone. Like, can Ancelotti? Would Ancelotti take the City job? Would he take the England job? Do you reckon?
They'll go for him.
Do you not?
I don't think he's what they want brand wise.
No.
They want a specific style of football, don't they? They want a brand of football.
It would steady as shit though, wouldn't it? Because like you said earlier, that will rock City when Pep leaves.
Oh, massively, and they'll start their succession planning this year. They'll be working on who they're going to bring in already, I imagine.
Yeah.
Had all these conversations behind closed doors, and they'll want somebody who plays a brand of football. I mean, nobody plays like Pep is innovative and does his own thing, and like he sets the trend and people follow really. But I think they'll look for somebody who plays a similar style. Of like possession football, entertaining football where we're on the attack and that kind of thing. I don't think that'll change. But who do you bring in to do that? That's the question. That's the difficult bit.
Go Nick Arteta from Arsenal. Why not?
I don't even want him. He just copies Pep anyway. Like he's a season behind Pep all the time. Like he's doing like this year. He did what Pep did the year before, and like, this year coming, he'll do what Pep did this year.
Yeah.
Pep will tweak it, but.
As much as I love Pep, I think it'd be good for football when he decides to pack it in because, like,
I don't think it'll make a difference. I think the styles are set now, and a lot of these patterns and teams will play this way now anyway. But
yeah, I mean, we said that about Tiki Taka, didn't we? And that's died out, like proper like the 4-3-3 Barcelona style that obviously Pep used there. That and like obviously Spain won back-to-back Euros with it, and the World Cup and the Euros, and after that died. And it went to the 4-2-3-1, didn't it?
Well, I mean, it didn't die. It just the thing is, Pep evolves, doesn't he? And then everybody follows him, and that's the thing. So he evolves his game. He does something, but like as soon as it stops working, he adapts it and he changes it. Like playing 4 centre backs last year across the back. And,
I mean that's just mental, isn't it?
Because he started like the year before that, he was inverting fullbacks. He was inverting his fullbacks all the time into that role. He started doing that. Then Arteta copied him, started doing it, and then like lots of people started doing it, and Pep was like, right, this needs to change now. So then he's gone 4 centre backs across the back, and he has one of his centre backs go in there.
Yeah, I mean it's meant to watch, isn't it?
And then he's essentially playing with like 3 at the back then when he's in possession at least, and then he goes back to 4 when he's not in possession. But he'll change it again this year coming. He'll change because other people will adjust, and he'll adjust around it.
Honestly, Pep rock up with a 4-4-2 opening game against Chelsea. That's what I want to see. I think Chelsea got first game in it. 4-4-2. Haaland and Alvarez up front together. 4-4-2. Bosh. Like, try me. I think it'd be incredible.
just getting out wide and crossing balls into the box.
Yeah, why not? Why not? You know what I mean? Like,
Classic.
yeah, why not? I mean, so last thing I want to talk about before we end this one is Ballon d'Or in December. Obviously, the thing with the Ballon d'Or is every year they only seem to think about a set time period. Like Messi won at the year in the World Cup, like we said in the last episode, when he wasn't that good. And for 6-7 months that year, he was in Miami, and he didn't play for 4 of them because he was injured. Then their season was starting, and like he only actually and the World Cup he won wasn't in the same year he won the last Ballon d'Or, because he won it for 2023, didn't he? He won the last one for the for how, and they're like, oh, the World Cup that was in 2022. What are we talking about? That was not in the calendar year we're looking at, obviously, because the season doesn't move with the calendar year, does it? It's obviously starts halfway and ends halfway.
He should never
Ballon d'Or.
Based on that calendar year, he should never win a Ballon d'Or. He was, like I say, he was injured a lot, and he was, like, by his own standards, he wasn't great.
No.
And then you have Haaland, like, for all of his faults, it's like that particular year, he broke like 12 records.
Yeah.
Like he broke like, because he couldn't miss the target. He was like light in the Premier League up.
And he did it for the first half of that year in Dortmund still as well.
In the first half of the year, he scored like, did he have like 3 back-to-back hat-tricks or something? Like,
yeah,
it was
scary.
He broke all the records. Like his goal scoring was like off the chart, and he was fit for all of it as well, and he didn't get looking.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what people like need to remember for that. I think this year's one could be a lot tighter. I think I'm just making like a list of players that I think will probably be in the running this year. Obviously, Messi will be in the conversation, obviously, because he's won the Copa America with Argentina. You were?
He shouldn't be in the conversation.
No, he shouldn't be, but he will be because he won the Copa America.
It's pathetic. It's an opinion poll, isn't it? But
yeah, and it'll be his last year as well, won't it? Because obviously, like that injury looks quite bad that he got the other day.
Yeah.
So you've got Messi, Vinicius Junior. Obviously, Brazil didn't have a good Copa America in the end. They were quite poor, actually, quite like England. But Champions League.
I don't think he'll get a shout in it, though.
Do you not think? Had they won it, I think he would have done.
On the list, when he'd be high up the list, but I don't think he'll.
Yeah. Had they won it, he'd have got it, I think. Had they won the Copa America this year, obviously he won the Champions League and the league as well. Haaland, obviously, he's got to be spoken about. The only thing that lets him down is his international, because obviously that's what a lot of managers, because managers will vote are international managers, aren't they?
Yeah, you just can't have people, though, can you?
No, that's like, if he picked England like he should have done, then he'd have been laughing, wouldn't it? Because like Kane would have been benched, Haaland would have been scoring, England would have been.
They would have won the Euros if they had him.
Yeah, I mean England would have been back-to-back champions for the last 3 years.
Goals, that strength up top, that ability to come in behind as well. Honestly, I think
he ain't tracking back to centre half, is he? He's not doing that. If you go, Haaland can track back, he'd be like, get too far. I'm not going.
Defenses will have to deal with him, and like I said, and that's what he does at City. Like people are like, like he doesn't do a lot when he's not got it. But what you forget is half the time, even against Real Madrid, they were putting 2 on him. He's taking players out of the game for other players to play.
Yeah, and there's no one in that Spain backline that would have dealt with him that night. Like, then none of them. None of them are good enough.
He made him look silly.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with everyone goes, he scores tap-ins, but that's what England lacked all tournament. Obviously, we're kind of go back to what we said before, but Kane was never in the box, but Haaland lives in the box, so he's got to be running Ballon d'Or, hasn't he? He's got to be in.
His finishing's excellent, and not only that, he runs in behind.
Yeah,
he runs in behind.
Other than Ronaldo and Messi, who've scored similar goals to him this season in terms of numbers, they're just doing it in leagues that, quite frankly, aren't relevant to the Ballon d'Or, in my opinion. Which is probably a very obnoxious opinion.
You can't play against mechanics and plumbers and expect to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Player.
Obviously, you got Jude. Obviously, so much chat about Jude Bellingham. Didn't have his best tournament. Ultimately, people love him because he's a massive PR machine, isn't he? Like people love him. Like they love him nationally, and they love him in the media. So all that stuff. So yeah.
I don't think Jude's like. Rodri should have a shout. He won't because he's not an attacking player. But he should.
That's good. That was my next one is Rodri. I think how can you not give it to Rodri? Like you say, like he's not an attacking player, and the Ballon d'Or used to go to anyone, did it? Like I think there was potentially a keeper or a defender that won it one year.
Recently,
Rodri, surely he's got to win it.
I mean, like his record alone speaks for itself, doesn't it? He is class, like actual top level, isn't he? Like, if you give it to Ronaldo or Messi, like one of them that giving it to Messi last year just cheapened it anyway for me. Cheapened the Ballon d'Or. Like,
Yeah, and the year that obviously Lewandowski should have won it, shouldn't he? Lewandowski, he obviously should have won it in COVID year when they cancelled it because it was the football was already done up until that point. Obviously, they stopped playing football, didn't they? Like well after the Ballon d'Or was should like if they did it January to December, then he should have won it, or Benzema, or whoever it was that should have won it that year. I think it might have been Benzema actually that should have won it that year, or Lewandowski, one of the two. But like because it is done over a season now, not over the year, like they do it wrong. But if we're going to look at how they vote on it, Rodri's won the Champions League, 2 Premier Leagues in that kind of in the years they look at it. He's won the Nations League last year. He's won the Euros this year. He's won man of the match in 3 of the last 4 finals he's played in. Yeah. How on earth is he not?
And he's lost 2 matches in that entire period when he's played.
Yeah, two matches in 90 minutes in that entire period. One of them again was against Scotland, not ideal. But like he's surely got to win it. Surely.
I mean, you'd think, but again, it'll come down to opinion, and people will just like see that they'll just give it to Messi again. I bet you.
Yeah, I mean, if he's done, they can't, can they? Because he's not going to play now until what are we now? July. He won't play until the end of the year if that injury's as bad as they think it is.
Yeah, it'll just be that sentimental thing, won't it? They'll vote for him.
But I think it's got to be Rodri. But I can see what you're saying about Messi. Like he's won other than Copa America, nothing.
No,
not he didn't win the MLS. Like, you know what I mean? Like.
No, and he's playing his crap standard of football. You can't compare that to people who are delivering week in, week out in the highest level.
No.
You know what I mean? But I don't know who else you'd look at really in there. I mean, you've got some of these other like younger Spanish players, I suppose, but they've probably not done enough yet.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, isn't it? It's like Inaki, Yamal, they're just like I could see it happen to Yamal as well. I could see him doing it because. That's football, isn't it? It's a PR thing. Like it is a popularity contest with the Ballon d'Or 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
These days, anyway.
Drawn. When is it?
I think it's like November time. It used to be December, didn't it? And then they moved it to like November time. Like the time of it never makes any sense to me in terms of when they get it, and who gets it, and how they get it. I don't really like the Ballon d'Or. I prefer the when they give out the best, that trophy.
End of October.
In October.
So, I mean. Have a couple of months to set the world on fire, won't he?
Yeah, I think if Rodri does anything else in the meantime, carries on that run, he's got to be in it.
Mm.
Well, time will tell. You've got that new Club World Cup, you've got the new Champions League format now. I think that's going to change football quite a lot. The Club World Cup every 4 years, and obviously the Champions League as well. That was going to change at least European football quite a lot.
Yeah, because of that change as well. City are allowed to wear their World Champions badge again.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good trophy to it. It's win, to be fair. Not many clubs have got it. Like people always go, "Oh, it's like the Community Shield, but for Europe," and kind of is in a way, I guess. But I like it. I think it's good, and it's going to get better now with how they do it properly. Like when they're going to do it properly, I think is it next year, or the year after they're doing a proper Club World Cup. I think that'd be decent if they take it seriously.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if they do it right. It'll be interesting, won't it?
Yeah, definitely.
But, I think if Rodri don't win it, it'll be a robbery this year. I think
a robbery.
It's how good he is.
Yeah, I guess we'll see, won't we? But like I said, we're fucking ages away from that October. A lot can happen. Like he could do his ACL tomorrow, and no one will think about him again.
So he's always injured, isn't he? So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine it's gonna be too bad. I think
City
he'll probably injured a little bit. But yeah, we'll see, won't we? We'll see what happens.
Phillips waiting in the wings anyway, aren't they? He's all right. He'll do the job, won't
he? Yeah, we haven't got a replacement for Calvin Phillips. That's the problem. We need more Calvin Phillips in the world.
Yeah, that's what you need.
Sickening. Right, I think that's probably us for this one, don't you think?
Yeah, sound.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll end it there. I'll get this put out.
Dreamy. I look forward to seeing it.
Copy that. Right.
See you in a bit, bro.
See you later.